Hello, BookShark BootCamp. It is Wednesday, session 6. We are going to be talking about staying organized throughout your entire year. I would love to just take a second. Let me find my outline. I would love to just kind of go over where we've been and where we're going. So we are over halfway. We are actually, oh my, three-fourths of the way through our intense 8-week session of boot camp. And we so far have covered your unboxing day. I really hope you guys have taken pictures of that, because even if, like I said, you don't share them, it's really exciting to look at those pictures at the end of your school year and take another picture and compare. More on that if you listen to session 1. We then set up our big binder, your BookShark binder with your week tabs in session 2. If you did not get a binder because you only did one subject or you chose not to get the required resources, just know that you can use any binder to set that up. We happen to have the week tabs that makes it incredibly helpful, but that is what we did in session 2. In session 3, we organized our books. We labeled them by level and by subject and by weeks that they are used. So we got pretty detailed in session 3 when we were organizing our books. In session 4, we talked about looking ahead and printing a calendar and getting ready for the entire year, month by month. That was session 4. In session 5, we talked about making a daily schedule or finding a routine that was going to help you get through your days with BookShark. Session 5, talking about a routine or a schedule, want to again reiterate that that is something that may have to be worked out once you get started. You may have to try a few different ways of how you implement your subjects, what subject when, what subject with what child. So don't get frustrated. Definitely give yourself some time to find a rhythm that works for your family when you're structuring your homeschool days. I would hate for you to start week 1 and it just not feel right, and then you think that you can't do this or you're not equipped. That is incorrect. Anytime we start something new, it has to be played out in order for us to feel comfortable with what we're doing and make the adjustments that we need. We can create something like using a recipe. We can follow it to a T, and then we set it before our families, or we go to eat it and we're like, oh, it was too much garlic. It wasn't enough of this. It didn't have enough flavor. And then instead of throwing out the recipe because it was healthy and it was something that you are capable of cooking, hopefully you go back and you tweak the things that you want to change for the next time. And that's how I want you to look at creating your schedule going forward. It's going to take some time. Give yourself some grace as you work through. You may have heard the term unschooling. It's not something that I talk about a whole lot. It wasn't something that we did as a family, but the concept I think is really important. And it's the idea of getting out of the box, not trying to recreate school, what you experienced or what public school has to offer. You don't want to recreate that in your home. So you want to get out of that mindset. So when you go to start your daily schedule, I want you to get out of that mindset that it has to be blocked times, it has to be done by that time, and there's no deviation. So make sure you watch session 5 so you can get a really good handle on what that would look like for your family. Now, session 6, we're talking about staying organized throughout the entire year. What does that look like? Well, outside of having your big binder, and I did talk about this in session 2, we have what we call a working binder. It's about an inch, inch and a half binder, 2 inches if you want. I like to place the front of my guide inside my viewfinder in my binder that I'm currently working with, front pocket. And I like to have 2 to 3 weeks of my instructor's guide right in this smaller working binder. It helps for easy grab. That big binder is a handful. It is easy to take with you. It is easy if you need to just remove it from where it typically is, it just makes it more convenient. So this working binder also takes out the overwhelm of looking at 36 weeks all the time and feeling like you've bundled a week and you're just not going to be able to get through it all. So taking it in bite-sized pieces, and that's what your working binder really is. Again, if you don't have the week tabs, if you didn't get an instructor's guide or a big binder from BookShark, I encourage you that you can make your own tabs super simply. You don't need a label maker. I've never owned a label maker. Who knew? But super easy. So this is your working binder. This is for you, the parent, your instructor's guide. I like to include, like I showed you guys, my current month calendar in my working binder. I also typically have, and I didn't want to snap it out when we were talking today, my map, my laminated map in my working binder. This is going to be for you and your student to go over the mapping points. And let's pause for a moment. I will show you. Here is an example of History H, week 1, scheduled day 1 through 4. If you look at day 2, you will notice there is a timeline figure icon and a map icon. Okay, so that is what those, you have a key down at the bottom of each of your schedules. So timeline and map. Now, if you look at week 1, day 2, or if we're still in day 1 where it's showing you the map, we're trying to locate Spain. So it is telling you to pull out that map. And let's see. So in this one, let me make sure I just have it right. There's a couple of different ones in here, and I can't read that small. But in this one, here is Spain right here. It's showing you in that. That is where you're going to find the answer to that. This is levels A through level H. This is the last level you're going to see a laminated map that you'll be using. Now, as you get into I and high school, they become paper maps. They're in the back of section 3. This is the parent guide, so it has the answers to where for the questions. The student guide has the ones that have to actually mark the map. So I keep those inside my working binder for that week, okay? So you have to go to the back of your instructor's guide, pull out the maps if you are in level I or higher. Otherwise, your laminated map would have been right in the front of your instructor's guide for history as you opened it up. Also, as you get into level I and higher, there's maps for history and there's maps for language arts literature, because those subjects are separate but paired together, complement each other. And in levels D through H, they are integrated. And levels I through C, you can customize. So that's a handful, mouthful, I know. If you are still confused about that, we would love to chat with you. Our advisors are available Monday through Friday. Please reach out. We don't want any confusion. That is what this BookShark Bootcamp is all about, where you're trying to remove all confusion, okay? The other thing that I like to keep in my workable map, or my working binder, my working binder, take this one off, is the timeline figures, okay? So timeline book, this is an older version. Yours would be blue now. And these are your timeline figures. Again, up until level H. Levels A all the way through H are going to have these timeline figures. And they are, sometimes you have to cut them out. These don't look like they're coming off very easy. I think I had this issue last time. You have to come up. They're sticky. And coloring them. So this, going back to that same guide, it will show you on the second column that Philip II from 1527 to 1598 was ruling wealthy Spain. So that is a timeline figure that's going to go in your timeline book. I like to keep my timeline figures inside my working binder so that I know when we pull them out, I know exactly where they are, and it is not a guessing game, okay? So just wanted to point that out to you guys, what you can keep inside your working binder. Now, you can also math schedules, because again, you were able to customize from different math products that we offer to create an all subject package. If you did that, keep your math guides, also your schedules, inside your working binder. Your student binder is going to look very similar in the fact that it can be around the same size. It's going to have the students' activity sheets. So if you have language arts, you're going to have activity sheets. If you have science, you're going to have activity sheets. History does not have activity sheets until you get to level I, and then you break up and have student guides and parent guides. Okay. But I would say keep that, kind of think of a trapper keeper. You're going to keep the actual work for the math, the activity sheets, any writing samples, anything that they complete. They can decorate their binder if you get them a blank binder. They can find a fun binder. And you want to just make sure that that's where you keep the students' work that they are doing, that they've completed it. So you have your instructor's guide, you have your student guide. There's lots of different ways you can do that. Go back to session 2. I talked a little bit more about the different ideas. What I really want to get into now that we're 10 minutes in of this session is talking about Sunday night planning. It doesn't have to be Sunday night, but it needs to be some time that you set aside to look through your instructor's guide for that week that you're starting. Okay. It's going to be a time for you just to collect the books that need to be pulled out for that week. Get familiar with the timeline figures that you're going to be placing and coloring that week, looking at the mapping and vocabulary, and just get a general sense of where you're going with your child that week. I don't think that it takes more than 15, 30 minutes at most. You may be able to do it even quicker than that. I'm not saying that you need to spend a lot of time prepping, because we know BookShark has done all of that for you. Really, this is just to familiarize yourself with the week that is coming. I know that it is so much more helpful for me to have an idea of where we're going to be, so that as I'm introducing things to my children, it's not a surprise to me. I don't feel like, oh, I'm not prepared. I didn't look this up. Now, there's going to be questions that they ask that you're not going to have answers to immediately. And that's fine. Nobody knows everything. That is not what I'm implying. What I am saying is that your future self will thank you if you take a few minutes each week to familiarize yourself again. Vocabulary, the books, mapping points, the timeline figures, just to get acclimated to what your week is going to look like. So we don't ask you to write any of the teacher's guide. That's all done for you. Just kind of familiarize yourself. Sunday night is the best time to do that. It's also a good time to think about if you want to add any videos. If you're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing a video, I was going to add that this week. Make sure we watch that together. Or maybe I'll take a few minutes to see if I can add some videos in a multi-sensory type of teaching environment, which we hope you're doing as a homeschool parent. I'm a huge advocate for visual aids. And I know, like, back from when there used to be flannel boards, the chalkboards, when our teachers would bring in the projectors, it moved to screens, it moved to whiteboards. I mean, all of these things have changed. But I recall reading Red Sails to Capri, and I found a YouTube video that actually took a tour inside the grotto, and it was amazing. And I thought, I need to show her. I need to help her bring this alive from the paper and put it into reality for her. And so Sunday night's a great time, whatever time you decide to do your planning, to do a quick Google search to see if there's an educational clip. A lot of these videos are short. They won't take up a lot of your time, but it will give just the extra emphasis on the reality of what history truly is. It isn't just words written in a book, it's things that happen. And whether they're recreated characters, whether they're videos of the actual geographic location, whether they are tours that you can take online and just walk through and see, all of these different pieces will help this become an adventure, so that it is not just information that you're giving your children, you're helping them live the learning. And that is my biggest desire for you as you start and continue on this homeschool journey. The other thing is field trips. If you look and stop and take some time to plan your week out, you can be like, oh, that's right, there's something at the museum that ties into this, and let's see if we can fit that in, or at least schedule that in an appropriate time, instead of getting to that day and going, oh my gosh, I did this again. I said I was going to take them on a field trip. I said I was going to plan this. I totally forgot. It really is just to help you as a parent make the most of your time and really implement the things that you want to implement into your weeks of homeschooling with BookShark. Okay. Whew. Now, that was Sunday night planning. the last thing, well, two more things I want to talk about. I had encouraged you to keep your boxes when the books showed up from BookShark. So either break them down so that you could build them back up later, or keep them built so that you can create what is called an attic box. And it doesn't have to be BookShark's box. It can be any cardboard box. It can be any plastic box. It's whatever box you want. But the point is going to have a location that when you are done with your instructor's guides, when you've made all of your notes, when you've kept all of your records, when you have put their activity sheets back together with the instructor's guide, your evidence of learning, you have a place to put it so that you can hold on to it. Now, how long you want to hold on to it is completely up to you. We have moved several times, and in the last 2 years ago, we made a cross country move. So I purged a lot of my things. But I will say that it brought me comfort to hold on to the things until I knew that the girls were registered for the things and the classes that they wanted. I had everything that they needed in order to prove that they were prepared and ready to take either college courses or classes outside the home that they needed to know that they had prereqs and stuff like that. Your attic box is how you're going to stay organized with those things. So you can have fun and let your kids decorate it if you want. Hopefully you got a branded BookShark box. I know one of our boot camp members had mentioned that. Unfortunately, he did not. I contacted the warehouse. They are back in-house. They are sending boxes out with the branded BookShark. But if you didn't get one of those and you want to put some stickers or something on it, email us and let's see if I can get some of those to you, okay? But it will just house all the things that you need going forward. Okay. So your attic box is a great place to keep you organized throughout the year. Your working binder is a great place to keep you organized throughout your weeks. And then your instructor's guide is a great place to keep you organized beyond just with BookShark. So let me bring this back and talk about, see, you have your electives down here. You have your day 5. All of these things are blank for you to be able to fill in. It's great for record keeping. You can actually put dates on this if you want, so that you're not like, oh, when did we do that? It's just keeping a plan for organization for the entire 36 weeks will help you in the future. Again, it also, I feel, has helped me in the day to day because then I don't have to feel like I am overwhelmed as I go through these things. And then I'm like, oh, I just remembered I was supposed to. I can't tell you guys how many times I've done that throughout my years of homeschooling and continue to do it in my professional life. One fun story I had, we were doing, it was the first year of homeschool with my twins. They were 10 going on 11. And I was so excited because we were talking about the Eastern Hemisphere. We had an opportunity to go to a city that was hosting the clay soldiers from China. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I planned this day and it didn't happen. And they weren't disappointed. I was disappointed. Another time when I think we were actually in the same level because we were talking about, we might have been a couple levels ahead then, talking about Russian history. And the Russian ballet was coming to a city close to us. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, it is the Russian version of the Nutcracker. It's like, are you so excited? Do you want to go see it? And they were like, no. So there are things that you may plan that may fall flat. I would encourage you that even if your kids don't want to do it, go ahead and do it because you only live once, and parents should have continuing education and do the things that they enjoy, and they might see you doing it and then want to come along. I will say that we did see the Nutcracker, a different version, several different times in several different places. So that wasn't the only time. Now, has the Russian ballet ever come back through for us to see it? No. Should I have insisted that we went? Possibly. But the clay soldiers, there was nothing I could do about that. The day just didn't work out. So all that to say, plan, hold it loosely, write it in pencil, have a very fluid idea of like, this is what you would love to do. This is what we have to do. These are the things that we would like to do. These are the things that we would love to do. We don't want to miss out. Having this time to plan and stay organized throughout your year is really going to help with all of that. And you don't know what you don't know. So take my word for it. Start small, but really start thinking about these things and how you can implement them to help you feel like you have a grasp. So nobody likes to feel out of control. And these tips are to help you feel in control of the things that you have control over. You have control over how you set up your day and your schedule, how you use your working binder, when you implement the mapping and the timeline schedules. You also have control over the field trips that you take. So there's things you don't have control over. How your child is going to feel each and every day, or what type of emotions or the things that are going to happen. There's so many things that are going to happen beyond your control as you homeschool. Excuse me. It's just part of life. So control the things and do well with what you can control so that when those uncontrollable things happen, you don't feel as overwhelmed or off kilter. So that's just my little plug for that. Okay, school supplies. Now, BookShark gives you in your boxes everything that you need for the subjects that you ordered. So there is no supplies necessarily needed except for science. We tell you in that schedule if there are things that are needed for the following week so that when you're making your grocery list, you can make sure you have those items. If you don't have those items, you have a whole week to get those items, but they are going to be simple household items. Everything else comes in the kit. You don't have to find chemicals. You don't have to find popsicle sticks or one rubber band or a watch battery, all of those things. It's just small household items that may be common, but we want to make sure that you have them ahead of time. So science supply, make sure you pay attention to that, what's coming for the following week. But as far as school supplies go, I don't want you or your child to feel like you're missing out. I mean, I remember those lists. I remember how much money all that stuff cost when I had to take my girls to school and bring all those supplies. And so I still wanted to let them pick out a pencil box and pencils that they wanted, and maybe some crayons, maybe some colored pencils, maybe some stickers, stuff like that. So maybe, budget a small amount and take your kids and let them do like back to school shopping, especially if this is your first year of homeschooling. You don't ever want your kids to feel like I didn't ever want my kids to feel like they were missing out on anything. And we are obviously replacing so many things that they would have missed out on in different ways. It's a balance, but know that you still can have some fun. Dollar store has some really neat things that you can do. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money because you do have everything that you technically need in order to homeschool with BookShark. But realistically, we're parents and we want our kids to be excited and to have fun. So that's that. All right. Next session, session 7, homeschooling without burnout. Oh boy, that's a big one. Okay, you guys. I say that I'm excited about each session, and it's true. I really am, because once we get through one, then I'm like, oh, the next one is so good. Oh, the following one is really needed. I have lived this for almost a decade as a homeschool parent. I did homeschool for 5 years, 8th grade through high school. So I hope that bringing my experiences, my stories, my advice, and my tips are helpful to you. Speaking of advice, our 200th episode of Homeschool Your Way podcast came out yesterday. It's not just my voice, you guys. It is other voices. So if you get a chance, make sure that you check that out. I will be back here on Monday. We will answer any questions you have about this session, anything else homeschool, BookShark related, and we'll prepare for the session 7, which is homeschooling without homeschooling without burnout, and your homework for session 6. What is one task that you will implement to stay organized this year? Post a photo of your decorated binders or attic boxes, or maybe just post a statement of what you are going to do to stay organized this year. In the meantime, post your questions, reach out, talk to our advisors, and have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.